From the first footprints fading at an African dawn, our story begins. Small bands of people fanned out across the continents, carrying fire, stories, and the seeds of what was to come. In fertile river valleys, they coaxed those seeds into fields, creating a surplus of food that birthed towns, then sprawling cities. With cities came the need for order, written scripts to track grain, taxes to fund growth, and rulers to declare the law. Soon, walls, temples, and towering granaries announced a revolutionary idea: strangers living together as one people. To manage this new complexity, a scribe presses a wet clay tablet, counting measures of grain. Bureaucrats plan irrigation, engineers cut canals, couriers carry decrees along new roads. This infrastructure did more than move goods. It shortened distance, clarified authority, and pulled once isolated villages into a single, shared reality. But walls and granaries alone do not build a civilization. People needed a shared story, a common purpose. In a dusty courtyard, a teacher draws a circle. Hinduism, Buddhism, and Confucianism shaped ideas of duty, compassion, and order, turning ethics into habit and habit into governance. They answered a fundamental question: what binds strangers who will never meet? Shared belief did, forming identities that could outlast any dynasty. And as these worlds of belief grew, they began to meet others. By lamplight, a reader chants from a sacred text. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam connected far-flung communities through scripture and law, giving rulers universal claims and ordinary people a place in a story larger than themselves. Pilgrims, scholars, and merchants carried these frameworks across deserts and seas, creating networks of trust that fueled an unprecedented age of exchange. Hooves crunch on salt as a caravan tops a dune. Sails billow in a monsoon wind. The Silk Roads linked empires. Saharan caravans traded gold for salt. The Indian Ocean became a clockwork of commerce. Along these routes traveled not just goods, but technologies that would change the world: paper, the compass, and gunpowder. But with connection came risk. With recipes and rumors came deadly disease. A bell tolls over a silent street. Around the year 1348, the Black Death surged along these trade routes, reordering society, faith, and power. In its wake, a new age of exploration dawned. Ships crossed the Atlantic and Pacific, connecting the hemispheres for the first time. Maize took root in Africa. Horses thundered across the Americas. A truly global system was born, one whose vulnerabilities we still feel today when supply chains break or a virus spreads. The oceans had become highways, and they stitched the continents into a single, volatile human experiment. In Havana, a woman stirs a pot fragrant with tomatoes and chilies from the Americas and sugar from an African crop worked by enslaved hands. This Columbian Exchange reshaped diets and landscapes, while the Atlantic slave trade tore millions of families apart to finance colonial empires. The conquest for land and labor enriched distant courts, leaving scars that have yet to fade. The wealth and turmoil of this new global age fueled a revolution of the mind. Science and reason turned a skeptical eye toward old certainties. The heirs of our first ancestors began to ask new questions. Who counts as a citizen and who decides? The revolutions in America, France, and Haiti tested answers in blood and ink. The idea that sovereignty comes not from a king, but from the people, crossed oceans, inspiring uprisings and new nations. Then, steam and coal reorganized the world once more. The factory bell replaced the rhythm of the seasons, feeding new empires and sparking resistance, reform, and nationalism across Africa and Asia. This industrial age led to 2 world wars, unimaginable genocide, and a long, cold standoff that carved new borders across the map. In their aftermath, decolonization movements and world forums sought a more stable path. Today, we navigate a digital revolution, one that links markets, faiths, and families in an instant. But the fundamental forces of history remain. We still wrestle with the balance between democracy and authoritarianism, interdependence and conflict, as climate change and pandemics test the very systems that connect us all. The story is far from over.